What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin Breeze here, and in this video, we're going to be comparing the ZTE Blade Max View to the Samsung Galaxy A6. So without further ado, let's get started. So both of these devices are available factory unlocked, which is really great because if you are trying to switch from one carrier to another, all you have to do is simply take out your old SIM card and put in your new one. So neither of these devices are attached or locked to any particular carrier. Now, the ZTE Blade Max View works with all GSM carriers and also works with Verizon Wireless, but with the Samsung Galaxy A6, at least with this version of the phone, it only works for GSM carriers. So you're not going to get any compatibility with Verizon or Sprint. But you'll have to decide if that's a big deal or not to you, but it just kind of depends on what carriers you plan on using. The ZTE Blade Max View is available for $199, and the Samsung Galaxy A6 is available for around $200. Now, of course, based on the time that you're watching this video, the prices for both of these devices might be different, so definitely make sure to take a look at the links in the video description. With the ZTE Blade Max View, we are getting a 6-inch display, and with the Samsung Galaxy A6, we're getting a slightly smaller display at 5.6 inches. Now, neither of these two devices have a notch, which is either a good or bad thing depending on how you view that, but that's kind of standard to see with lower-end smartphones not having a notch. And the form factors here are pretty similar. I mean, they both have a decent amount of bezel on the top and bottom, and both devices have on-screen navigation buttons. Now, looking closely here, you'll notice that on the ZTE Blade Max View, we have rounded corners, and on the Samsung Galaxy A6, we have squared off corners. I personally don't really have a preference either way. I don't think it's really a big deal, but if that's something that is important to you, then definitely take note of that, because you might prefer it one way or another. Now, with the ZTE Blade Max View, we're getting a 1080p display, and with the Samsung Galaxy A6, we're getting a 720p display. So we're getting a lower quality, lower resolution display with the Samsung Galaxy A6 in comparison to the ZTE Blade Max View. Now, the good thing though is that both of these displays, even though they have different resolutions, are both good looking. I mean, they both look great. I personally prefer the display on the ZTE Blade Max View. I do think it looks better, and it just has better colors. It looks a little bit brighter than the display on the Samsung Galaxy A6. But even though the display is lower resolution on the A6, the display itself is actually smaller, so that means that the pixel density on both of these devices are actually more similar than you might think. Now, a great thing about both of these phones is that they both have 18:9 displays, which means that the displays are taller than your traditional phones that come in at 16:9. What that means is that when you're watching videos or you're browsing the web or really doing anything on here, you're going to be able to see more content on the display than you would with the more traditional 16:9 form factor. Now, on the ZTE Blade Max View, we have an 8-megapixel front-facing camera, and on the Samsung Galaxy A6, we have a 16-megapixel camera and a front-facing flash. Now, internally, both of these devices contain 32 gigabytes of onboard storage, with the ability to expand that storage with a microSD card. Neither of these two devices offer wireless charging, but they do both offer fingerprint sensors on the back. On the ZTE Blade Max View, we get portrait mode with the camera here, and there is no portrait mode on the Samsung Galaxy A6. Now, both main cameras on the back here are 16 megapixels in these two devices, but on the ZTE Blade Max View, we get an extra camera that is 2 megapixels, but that extra camera is what makes portrait mode possible. The ZTE Blade Max View has 3 gigabytes of RAM, and the Samsung Galaxy A6 has 4 gigabytes of RAM. The ZTE Blade Max View has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 435 processor, and the Samsung Galaxy A6 has a Samsung Exynos 7 octa-core processor. Both of these two devices max out at 1080p video recording at 30 frames per second, and the ZTE Blade Max View has a 4000 mAh battery, and the Samsung Galaxy A6 has a smaller battery coming in at 3000 mAh. At the moment, the ZTE Blade Max View runs Android 7.0 Nougat, but ZTE promises that there is an update on the way to a newer version of Android. And the Samsung Galaxy A6 runs Android 8.0 Oreo out of the box. So as mentioned before, on the ZTE Blade Max View, we get a 6-inch 1080p display, and on the Samsung Galaxy A6, we get a 720p display coming in at 5.6 inches. Then up top, we have the 8-megapixel front-facing camera on the ZTE Blade Max View and the earpiece. And then on the Samsung Galaxy A6, we have the 16-megapixel camera, front-facing flash, and the earpiece. Then down below, both devices have on-screen navigation buttons. Taking a look at the left side here in both devices, on the ZTE Blade Max View, we just have a door for the SIM card slot and micro SD card. And on the Samsung Galaxy A6, we have the volume rockers, we have a door for the micro SD card, and then we have another door here for the 2 SIM cards that you can put into the device. So the Samsung Galaxy A6 is compatible with dual SIMs, which means that you can essentially run 2 phones out of 1 phone here. So that's a great feature to see. And the ZTE Blade Max View is a more traditional 1 SIM device. Taking a look at the right side here in the ZTE Blade Max View with the volume rockers, and we have the power button. And on the Samsung Galaxy A6, we have the speaker on the side here, and we have the power button, and that's it. Up top on the ZTE Blade Max View, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack and the noise canceling microphone. And on the Samsung Galaxy A6, we have nothing on top. Then taking a look at the bottom of both devices, on the ZTE Blade Max View, we have the microphone, we have the USB Type-C port, and we have the speaker. And on the Samsung Galaxy A6, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, we have the microphone, and we have the micro USB port. Then taking a look at the backside of both devices, on the ZTE Blade Max View, we have the 16 megapixel camera on top, we have the 2 megapixel camera on the bottom to help with portrait mode, we have the flash, we have the fingerprint sensor, and we have the ZTE logo. And then on the Samsung Galaxy A6, we have the 16 megapixel camera, the fingerprint sensor, the flash, and the Samsung logo. For the next part of this comparison, we're going to be testing out some commonly used functions on these 2 devices. So we're going to start off with seeing which device is faster at starting Google Chrome. So 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like both devices were really quick at starting Chrome. It was kind of hard to tell which one was faster, to be honest. Now next we're going to start up yahoo.com. So 1, 2, 3, go. And again, both devices were really quick here at starting up Yahoo. It looks like the A6 might have been a little bit faster, but really it was hard to tell which one was faster. Next, we're going to start up Engadget.com. So 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like Engadget is a little bit quicker on, well, actually no, it ended up catching up here on the ZTE Blade Max View. It looked like for a second it was faster on the A6, but it looks like it was just as fast on the ZTE Blade Max View. So that was kind of tough to tell which one was quicker there. Let's now click on this article here. So 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like in this test, the Samsung Galaxy A6 was just slightly quicker at starting up this page here, but really both were extremely quick. So it was really hard to tell which one is quicker. I mean, yeah, wow, even both devices are at the same battery percentage at 86%. So it's pretty amazing to see how similar these are performance-wise. Let's now start up the camera on both devices here. 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like the camera was a little bit quicker to start off on the Samsung Galaxy A6, but really it wasn't too much different on both of these. I mean, they're both extremely close as far as which one's quicker or which one's slower. I mean, they're pretty similar. Now, I'm going to take a picture of this object over here on both phones, and we can kind of compare how that picture looks so that you can kind of get an idea of which camera you might prefer. Now, keep in mind that both phones here have 16 megapixel rear-facing cameras. But you can see, at least in this test here, it looks like the ZTE Blade Max View was able to kind of pick up more light in general, and the Samsung Galaxy A6 kind of made things a little darker, and the colors might be a little bit richer in the A6, but we kind of sacrificed making the picture nice and bright. Now we'll zoom in a little bit to see some detail. And I'll tell you what, I mean, both look pretty good. I mean, it seems like, in my opinion, the ZTE Blade Max View is a little bit better, but really, I mean, they're both good in their own ways. I mean, you can kind of see how maybe you could argue that the Blade Max View is a little more washed out of a picture here. But on the flip side, with the A6, everything is a lot darker. So this concludes my comparison between the ZTE Blade Max View and the Samsung Galaxy A6. Of course, I couldn't cover everything in this comparison, but if you want me to make kind of a follow-up video, or if you want me to really test any other specific feature on either of these 2 devices, then let me know down in the comment section below. But if you're interested in buying either of these devices or seeing what the current pricing is, because it might have changed since I created this video, then take a look at the links in the description and make sure to click over to those. And with all that said, thank you so much for watching. This is Kevin Breeze here, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and have a great day. Bye.